Hey guys, Prowl 1701 here, and today I'm just going to kind of talk about the 60s Doctor Who stories I haven't seen yet, and just kind of just to kind of list the ones I haven't seen yet. I figured y'all might be interested in that, and kind of give my brief thoughts on each one, kind of what I know about them, how interested I am in them, see how that kind of compares to your thoughts, because most of you who watch my channel, you've probably seen them, and just so you can be like how close I am, how off base I am, and what you think of these stories compared to my impression of the story. Now, we're going to start with the first Doctor, which if you're familiar with my channel, you know that's kind of the main gap in my Classic Who knowledge, which is an odd thing to say as someone who started Doctor Who with Classic Who in the 80s, but here in the States it's just nowhere near as easy to get access to, especially back then. But I have only seen 12 out of Hartnell's 29 stories. So this is kind of the main one of all of Classic Who that I've really got to focus on so I can learn more about this incarnation of the Doctor. So starting, and I didn't realize how much of Season 1 I've actually seen until I was getting ready to do this video and I was kind of doing a test run through it. But I have seen most of Season 1 now. So I haven't seen Marco Polo. I have seen the cut down on it, the little 30-minute cut down that I think was on, was it the Aztecs, I believe? But I have seen that, and or whatever it was on. It was on something. I think it was actually on the beginning collection. But I liked the cut down, and Marco Polo is one I want to see because I enjoyed the cut down, and when you see all the behind the scenes photos of it, it looked like a really good production. Everybody looked like they were having a lot of fun, like it was a fun production. And it just looks like a fun historical. So that is definitely one that, while unlikely to get animated, that if they did do it maybe for its 60th anniversary in 2024, that would be a nice little treat. The next one I've never seen is The Keys of Marinus. And I always hear that this is a good one. I've heard from several people that they either really like The Keys of Marinus, or I've heard a lot that you need to see The Keys of Marinus. I never hear bad things about this one, so I get the impression this is actually a pretty good story, so I am looking forward to when I get to watch that. And then the only other one I haven't seen from this season is The Censorites. I believe I'm saying that right, The Censorites. I don't know much about this one. I think the Ood is kind of an homage to them, maybe. I think there's kind of some connection between them and the Ood, like design-wise. And I get the impression they're an intelligent race, the size of their head. They're probably really brain smart, but I don't really know much about this one. I don't hear much about this one. But I haven't seen it as well. Now, moving into Season 2... I've only seen one story from Season 2 now, and that's Planet of the Giants. I have not seen any of the rest of Season 2, but one of my subscribers, Steve, did send me a copy of Planet of the Giants to my P.O. Box. I got to watch that, and I very much enjoyed it. It's a great story. So Dalek Invasion of Earth, definitely one I want to see. It's a very famous story. It's a Dalek story. I love the Daleks. They're my favorite Doctor Who villain. So I do want to see that. Plus, just seeing the iconic imagery of the Daleks running around in 60s London. And plus, I have seen The Farewell with Susan, and that's a fantastic speech, one of the Doctor's most famous speeches. I would just love to see the whole story of that, so when that actually happens, I get the full emotional weight of it. The Rescue, I don't hear much about The Rescue. I'd forgotten it was 2 parts. I have that here in my notes, that it's only a 2-parter. So it's a short one. I don't know really anything about it, though. I don't know who or what's being rescued. I don't know much about that story. The Romans, of course, it's set in old Rome, way back when. I think the Doctor, like with Nero, I think the Doctor actually inadvertently causes that big fire. That is one I'm interested in. I will admit, I do very much want to see the Romans. I love history. It was always my favorite subject in school. So that's definitely one I want to see. The Web Planet, this one is infamously bad. I am well aware of that. It really does. What I hear a lot is that the story is actually very ambitious, that they actually had some ambitious goals. They just didn't have the budget to pull it off, which classic Doctor Who, and that the production standpoint, it just fails utterly because the budget's not there. It's kind of the Power of Kroll of its day, so to speak. But I do want to see it just once, so I can at least see what the ambition was there and how well that comes across. So I would like to see it once, just to see if it's as bad as everybody says it is. And then there's the Crusade, which I know is half missing, the only 2 missing episodes of season 2, and I'd like to see that because again I tend to like historical stuff, especially like medieval stuff, so I think I'd enjoy that. The Space Museum, I don't know much about the Space Museum. I think that is that the one with the mechanical doctor where Hartnell's not only playing the doctor, he's playing like the robotic doctor. I think maybe. I think the doctor ends up on a museum where he's an exhibit or something like that maybe. I'm not quite sure. I only know a little about it. The Chase, I know, is a Dalek one. I think it's the first time the Daleks time travel. I think they're chasing him through time. Like, he can't just hop in the TARDIS and leave. It's kind of like in Human Nature when they follow him through time. I think they actually can chase him through time. I've heard the Chase is a little sillier, like a little funnier, a little more farcical. It's not quite as serious as other Dalek stories from the 60s. Some people seem to like it, some people don't seem to like it, so I'm curious to watch it just to see which camp I'll fall into on that. And then the last one, of course, is the Time Meddler. That is one I very much want to see. I know the Meddling Monk is like the first time we meet another Time Lord, even though they aren't called that then, another one of his own people, and that he just tends to interfere, and that he has his own TARDIS. And that's kind of one I've always wanted to see. I think that's kind of the one I'm hoping maybe somebody will just send in my P.O. box, because I would like to see the Time Meddler. That's definitely one of the ones everybody's like, you need to see the Time Meddler. So apparently I really need to see the Time Meddler. Moving on to season 3. I've never seen the Myth Makers, which is understandable. It's completely missing. And I'm very much a visual medium person. It's hard for me for these missing stories to just listen to audios. Like, I can't listen to an audio CD, it won't work. I'm not the biggest fan of recons, usually. Depends on how good the recon is. So I don't know much about the Myth Makers. I know it's set during the Trojan War and everything. I know it's Vicky's last story and it's Katerina's first story. And again, I'm a big fan of the Odyssey and the Iliad, so I'll probably find that pretty fascinating if it ever gets animated. I've never seen Dalek's Master Plan, any of it, even the 3 surviving episodes. I've seen some clips from it, like the bit with Katerina in the airlock. I've seen that. I know it's Nicholas Courtney's first story, even though he's playing a different character. I know Jean Marsh is in it as well as Sarah Kingdom, so I know, and that her death is apparently pretty gruesome. So I know some of the stuff going on in it. I know the guy who plays Tobias Vaughn in The Invasion is also playing somebody in this one. I don't know the character's name, but I know he's in it. I've seen him dressed up. So I've always wanted to see that one because, again, it's Dalek's Master Plan. You know, it's that Holy Grail epic. So I would love for it to get animated eventually, even if it's just the missing episodes, so I could actually have a chance to watch it. Celestial Toymaker is an interesting one because I've never seen it, but I've read the Target novel. I have, but it was a long time ago, though. My uncle had like 3 or 4 of the Target novels, and I read it back probably in the early, easing into the mid-90s, like 92, 93, 94, somewhere up in there. And I liked the novel. I don't remember all of it. I remember the Doctor getting turned into just a hand at one point and having to use the hand, I think. And then even that got taken away and he was just the voice. And while he's playing like a chess game or something like that with the Celestial Toymaker, Steve and... is it Dodo, maybe? Dodo, I'm guessing? I forget who he's with. They're having to go through all those different games, and they have to win at the same time. Dodo and Steve have to win, and the Doctor has to win at the same time. That's the only way they can get out. And of course, it's got Michael Gough in it, and I always love me some Michael Gough. So I enjoyed the novel, even though, again, it's been a long time since I read it. So I do want to see the story, even though I know only episode 4 survives. I really wish they'd animate that one. It really does have that kind of fantasy element that I think you could really just do a lot more with that one than the original production, and I would love to see that. I've never seen The Massacre of St. Bartholomew's Eve. I know all the episodes are missing. I don't even think telesnaps exist of it. And that's an interesting one because I know that's the one where Hartnell plays two characters, much like Troughton in Enemy of the World. So I think a lot of people want that one for that. And I'd certainly be intrigued to see it. I like William Hartnell as an actor. He's really growing on me. So I would love to see him playing dual roles like that. And then I've never seen The Savages, which I know is Steven's last story. And it's really sad learning about that the animations may be stopping and that BBC America may be pulling their funding, because that seemed to be the one everybody thought we might get this year. If we got a first Doctor story animated this year, the one I kept hearing thrown around was The Savages. It seems like it would be an easy one to do out of the first Doctor stories, I get the impression. And again, it's Steven's final story, so that would be nice to see as well. Moving into, well, not quite into Troughton, because I've never seen The Smugglers. I have never seen The Smugglers. I don't really know if The Smugglers is any good or not. I would like to see it. I would love to get it animated, one, because it's part of Season 4, and I love Season 4, what I've seen of it. And I really want that Season 4 box set out in the collection, so I really want The Smugglers more for that than to actually get The Smugglers. But it would be nice to see kind of Hartnell's penultimate story as well. I've never seen The Highlanders. Again, it's completely missing. I think most people want The Highlanders because it's Jamie's first story, which I get because I love Jamie. He's one of my favorite companions. And that's one of the reasons I want to see it. Although I actually hear the story itself is kind of boring and uninteresting, but I still would like to have it just to see it once. Again, I tend to like historical stuff, so I think I'd enjoy that. I've never seen Underwater Menace. I have... my nose itches. I have avoided getting the DVD because I've heard just how bad the recons for episode 1 and 4 are. Like, I tend to not to be the biggest fan of recons anyway, but some are done pretty well. Like, the Galaxy 4 one's really good. But I heard the recon for this one is notorious. Like, even for a recon, it's bad, bad, bad. Like that's, it's just like a travesty of a release. I saw Josh Snare's video about it recently where he talked about how it's just such a bad release. So I've avoided... my nose. I've avoided picking that up because of that. But I would like them to do a special edition of Underwater Menace, maybe animating, even if it's just 3D animation, episodes 1 and 4. Because I would like to see it since half of it does exist, and I do love seeing surviving Troughton episodes, even if they're not the best, and it's a little campy and over the top. It's still Troughton, and I love Troughton, so I'd love to get that one. And I think that's the last one from Season 4 I haven't seen. Yeah, I've seen all of the others. Season 5, I've never seen Abominable Snowmen, but I'll rectify that when it comes out later this year. I do have the Steelbook pre-ordered. And while I'm not the most thrilled about the Fury animation they're using at this point, knowing the kind of state of the animations, I'm just happy to be getting it at all. I've always wanted to see the Abominable Snowmen since it's kind of the precursor to Web of Fear, and it'll be nice to be able to watch those two stories back to back, like watch Abominable Snowmen, then go watch Web of Fear. I'd really like that. So I am looking forward to that coming in later this year. I hope they do some good artwork for the Steelbook. I've never seen... the only other one I haven't seen from that season is Will in Space, which I've wanted to see. It's probably the only Cyberman story I haven't seen yet. I love the fact that a third of it survives, including the final episode. That's a big deal to me when a final episode survives. I really love that I can finish a story with an actual surviving episode. And I really did enjoy the short 10-minute animation we got as a bonus on the Macroterra release. I really enjoyed that little cut down of the first episode. That was really nice. The animation looked really good. So I would love for Wheel to get animated so I can see it, even though I hear it's not that great, honestly. I hear it's kind of boring, like kind of the weakest 60s Cyberman story. I hear it does drag a bit, and I'm not too keen on the actual Cyberman design, but I still would like to see it. And plus it would complete Season 5, so we could get that Season 5 box set out. And then the last one, the only story in Season 6 I haven't seen is the Space Pirates, which I do want to see the Space Pirates. I have this strange fascination with the Space Pirates. I really do want it to be animated. One, because maybe the animation could do a lot of quality and life improvements for it. Since 5 of the 6 episodes are missing, maybe they could tweak it to make it a little more interesting, especially visually interesting. Maybe cut out some of the dead parts of the audio. And plus, I have a fascination with this one, probably more because it's written by Robert Holmes, and Robert Holmes is my favorite Doctor Who writer. I'm a huge fan of his work. I'm not saying he's flawless. I mean, he did Power of Krull, and you guys know how I feel about Power of Krull, but that's more from a production standpoint. But I do really want to see the Space Pirates. I do have an odd fascination with that one that more than likely it won't live up to. And that is all of the 60s stories I haven't seen. I would like to know what you think of these stories and which ones I should be the most excited about and which ones are probably going to be the most disappointing. So let me know what you think. Other things to do. Click the like button, click the subscribe button, click the bell for notifications so you never miss out on another video. Down in the description below, I have a link to my Patreon if you like what I do and would like to support me on that. There are several different tiers there. My entry-level tier is only $2 a month. I also have my P.O. box down there as well. If there's anything Doctor Who related you would like to send me, like anything I've mentioned in this video, I'd love to get a hold of the Time Meddler. It's down in the description below. A link to my Amazon wish list, which has some of this stuff on it as well, is down in the description below. Most importantly, though, thank you for watching. Oh, and I also want to give a shout out to 2 of my top tier patrons, because I always like to thank them. I really appreciate them contributing to what I do. So I want to say thank you to Stephen Crane and the 5th Doctor. I really appreciate their support and the support of all of my patrons. Have a nice day.